Jordan. Thank you, sir. I got it.
All right, y'all. So, if you could, one more time, if you wouldn't mind, just turn your chair so you can see me. I think if we're looking in a different direction, there might be more distractions. I don't want you to miss what God has for you today, okay? And if you're like, there's 3 heads between me and you, maybe like you can move your chair, so it's up to you, whatever you do. But hey, we started this uncommon series, which is not right there. We getting it right there? Can you help us do that? Look right there. We started that uncommon series. I'd love to get it on the front so you can follow us too. But slider now. You know where we are. And if you remember, we got sort of our main point, our driving point from Leviticus 10:10. Okay? And so in that, God instructs his people to distinguish between the holy and the unholy, right? So, no, I'm sorry. The holy and the common. Yeah, some of you guys are tracking. Thank you. And so, the unholy, I mean, it says in Galatians chapter 5, the works of the flesh are evident. They are obvious. It's super obvious when something is unholy. But the thing that we, in this series, want to look at is, what about when they're common? What about when things are normal? When they're run-of-the-mill? When they're average? When they're usual? When they're the things that we always do, we always see around us. Because I think if we're honest, those are the things that sort of trip us up the most. Not the huge sins that you would never do ever, but the things that, it's probably okay. It's pretty much acceptable. But I think the trouble is, if we get caught up in the common, what's going to happen is it's going to lessen our taste for God. It's going to distract us from spiritual things. If the common captivates us, is all that we are interested in, it's going to squish our joy. In fact, we might doubt our godly identity. We might even, as a result, not understand God's will for our lives. And that's what we're going to look at today. What is God's will for your life? And then speak out more specifically, priorities. What are your priorities? Okay? And we all have priorities, right? Actually, this word is not in the Bible, but the Bible talks about this all the time. We all have priorities like, hey, I'm super tired, but I have all this extra homework to do. So which priority is going to win out in this instance, right? Am I going to go to sleep? Am I going to just, eat some chips or, drink some cold beverage or do something crazy? Sleep or homework? Which priority will win tonight? Well, you're in summertime, so neither one. You just go to sleep whenever you want, I guess. But, or if you think about like, hey, I'm trying to watch my weight, trying to sort of watch what I eat, but Pringles, So there's the priority of being fit and healthy and the priority of Pringles, Yeah, it's the best. That's kind of silly, but how about this one? You're with one of your best friends around the group of really popular kids. And one of the really popular kids, sort of on behalf of the whole group, is just ragging on your best friend. And is just making fun of them. So you have the priority to your best friend to, support them, or do you want the approval and credit of the masses? You see, all the time we have different priorities that take different levels of attention in our life. And the hardest part is when those two things come into conflict. Okay? And so I wanted to look at just a few definitions quick. I want to look at sort of a charge from the scriptures to you, Jesus, and then application, all in about 6 minutes. Are you ready? We'll see. I want to do it. Ready? So, priorities. The prime concern, a first concern, a primary issue, most pressing matter is the first definition. I tell you, it's not just like a thing, it could be a person too. throughout high school and other times when I was dating, a person was the most important thing to me. Or as we go with person, how about me? I'm the most important thing to me. You know, my comfort, my glory. That's what's most important here. And on occasion, I feel like, or just another definition that I found. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do, sorry. Here we go. Something given special attention, established by an order of importance or urgency. Okay, my little son, he's 3, Jack. He had some like oil on his face and he's having an allergic reaction. And he was like, ah! And it's kind of a little funny, you know. He had his puzzle that he was doing. There's the puzzle, and then there's ah! So of urgent importance, puzzle, no. You see the difference in priority, obviously. Okay. Finally, something that uses your time, your attention, your money, your cares. How many of you guys, you say, I'm a sport player in here. I play sports, or even band. I do band. I'm pretty serious about that. Okay. All right, well, just for you guys, but also for everyone else, too. You can think of how that kind of thing, or maybe whatever you're into, it takes up your time, right? You always have practice about it every day, even on the weekends. It takes up your attention. You're focused on it. While you're there, even you're thinking about beyond. What could I have done differently? Your money, you know, for the equipment, for the right to play. Your cares, your attention, your affection. And I'm not trying to say that sports are bad. Certainly not. But I think one thing we have to see is that your actions show your priorities. Okay? What you do shows what you value. You agree with that? Your actions show your priorities. What you do shows what you value. And so you might be thinking like, okay, I know where you're going, Jeff. Make God one of your main priorities in life. Like, okay, go to church, read the Bible, go to youth group, and I want to just be a good spiritual person. That's actually not what I'm talking about at all. God is not one of the additional priorities you sort of stick in your life amongst the many other things. Truly, God deserves first place. And we're going to see what that means. And you're like, okay, well, I got school, and I got work, and okay, I want to, prioritize relationships, and I got to, in the process of just figuring out who am I, right? And then, okay, put some God in there too. No. But rather, God's getting the glory in your school, through your work, in the midst of your relationships. God's glorified, getting the glory as you're figuring out who you are during this time of adolescence and beyond. And so, I suggest that we're to live as Jesus did. Our whole lives would be lived for God's glory. I keep pushing our button. I'm so sorry. This is a new thing. Right here. So, our priority, like Jesus, our whole lives for God's glory. Okay, because if He's the author and perfecter of our faith, the things that He didn't really have anything to do with, we probably shouldn't really have anything to do with. But the things that He was all about, like His core identity, His DNA, what made His heart pump, we should want to know what that is. If we believe that Jesus is the perfect man, the perfect person, He is the essence, the epitome of what it means to be human. Jesus was the most human there would ever be. I mean, you're human, but to be really human, to be the way God designed you to be. You see that? To be like Jesus is to be human. So for us to understand His priority, or priorities, wow, we got to follow that. And so, here's what I think happens. I'm so sorry. So, our priority is what? God's glory. And so, God's glory then kind of infects or circles back around and affects our whole lives. If our priority is God's glory, then that central working of our lives will affect everything that we do. And that's what I believe. It means kind of like a football flowchart, basketball, notepad. But this is what God has for you. That your priority would be His glory. That your life would be His glory. Let me tell you, I guess, what I'm thinking. There's a little phrase that's repeated time and time and time again. Actually, if you have your Bibles open to Romans chapter 11, the very last verse, and you'll maybe get there before I see it in the Psalms. I see it in Romans, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, 1st and 2nd Timothy, Hebrews, 1st and 2nd Peter, Jude, Revelation. This one thing shows up again and again all over the place. And a lot of times, many times during each short phrase, okay? It's a very short phrase, but I want you to see it. Actually, I'll say one more thing about it before I tell you what it is. The phrase comes at the end, usually, which sums up everything that was said before. Or sometimes it's at a key transition time, kind of in the middle as the author is changing pace, saying, okay, this is the hinge that's saying yes to all that, and then giving value to what's to come. And the verse is this. I can do it. I'm sorry. Romans 11:36. For from him and through him and for him are all things. To him be the glory forever. The little phrase is the last thing. To him be the glory forever. Sometimes it says, to him be the glory forever and ever. I'm going to say, okay, that's the same thing. Or to God through Christ, God the Father through Christ, be the glory forever and ever. You see it all the time. And this phrase, I believe, gives us understanding. Where should we set our priority? What should drive us? Okay? Real quick. For from him, so the him there is God, God the Father. But also, like in 2 Peter 3:18, it says the same thing about Jesus. And so, it's all wrapped up in there. God, through Christ. So, from him are all things. From him meaning he created all things. Through him are all things. Like, for instance, my son's on the swing, a little 3-year-old, and I'm pushing him. So, through him, he can continue to swing. If I step away, he doesn't know how to do the leg kick thing right? So, right now, through God, we are sustained. Through him, we even have our being from the created onward. And then, look at the next thing. And for him are all things. Which means you are made for him. For his delight. For his joy. For his glory. But then, to him be the glory forever and ever. This idea of glory. So this is the biblical charge to you. But I don't want to just tell you, like, WWJD. Like, what would Jesus do, right? That's a good thing to think about. But that's like maybe promoting an empty moralism. Could be. Essentially, like, I just want to be like Jesus, but I don't want to have the same heart and head to Jesus. I just want to do what he did. Some religions actually, yeah, Jesus was a good moral teacher, so I'm going to try to follow his morals. No. A different kind of WWJD. Why would Jesus do that or anything, right? So not what would Jesus do, the actual thing, like healing a blind man. Now you have sight. But why would he do that? The reason why is to glorify his Father. Okay? I'll show you two passages about Jesus in short. So John 12. We think about, you can turn it, you don't have to, you can just look at the screen, I have it. When you think of the Father voice from above in the New Testament in Jesus' time, what do you think? So the Father calls from his voice from above, and what did he say? What time did it happen? Can you think of anything? Two major times in Jesus' ministry. Yeah, at his baptism. And so the Father was giving Jesus glory, and Jesus' life was giving the Father glory. Any other time can you think of? The Father's voice coming, and the disciples heard it? Yeah. Is that what you said too? Yeah, I was actually thinking of that one. I don't know of the one where Father, that might be, but the transfiguration, where the disciples were going through this cloud, the glory cloud, and the voice came out. Anyway, those are the two that we usually think of, but there's actually one more. It's right here. This is Jesus after he went into Jerusalem in the last week of his life. He knows what's going to happen. He knows he's going to die. And Jesus says, now my soul is troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? I've lived my whole life up to this moment following you, God. Should I bail on it now? Of course not. But for this purpose I have come to this hour. Father, glorify glorify your name. And then the Father responds from heaven, I have glorified it, I'm going to glorify it again. And the other people that heard sound like thunder. Jesus said, that's for your benefit. So you can hear that. God is talking to me and to you. This is real. It's happening. Okay? So this voice came down, but Jesus, his heart was to glorify the Father. It would have been so easy for him to say, okay, all those sinners who hate me and who turn away and who want nothing to We see in Philippians 2. You probably heard Joel and I quote this all the time. We love this. This is the Christ hymn from Philippians 2. And so, being the very nature of God, he considered equality with God something to be grasped. He made himself nothing. He emptied himself, taking on the form of a servant, even a slave, it says. Taking on a form of human likeness. And he was obedient to death, even death on a cross. But then he goes on to say, but God rose him up. And he gave him the name that's above every name, so that every knee should bow to him on heaven and earth, under the earth, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. And that's usually where I end it. That's not the end. To the glory of God the Father. All that happened in the blue writing, that's all to give God the glory. Jesus, he is honored and he's high and lifted up and he's the name, but it's all about God. So if Jesus lives this way, what about us? What about you? I wonder how you could give him glory with your time. If you have time, which I know us all do, how can you give him glory with your time? If we seek to glorify God with our whole lives, some of our priorities will be realigned, I believe. Or with your money. How could you bring God glory with your money? There's something called 10% the tithe. If you are making income, or you work to babysit, or all those little things that you do to earn money, do you give some back to God? It says in the scriptures in Deuteronomy 8:6, I believe, that God gives you the ability to create wealth, to work with it. Do you honor him with your money? I'm so glad I heard a message this week and with regarding tithing and giving money, and the speaker said, I'm so glad Jesus didn't tithe his blood. Like, didn't only give us 10% of his blood, because we would have still been lost. He gave it all for you. What's your priority? To serve him, to glorify him. With your attention, what captivates you? Are those digital things, these virtual friendships that you spend hours and hours of time on? I mean, do you spend some time with God? How does that sort of weigh out in the grand scheme of things? Because relationships take time. They take investment. And God has given these gifts for you. The breath that you breathe to glorify him. I think two more. Your license, if you're in senior high or if you're a staff maybe. Do you use your license in your car for God to give him glory? Maybe to give people rides to youth events or to Shatter Ignite or to drive the speed limit and show what Christians do. I think about your smarts. If you are really smart in school, it comes naturally. Can you glorify God by helping other people without making them feel like they're less than you? Without being a jerk? Can you lift them up without lifting yourself up too? Staying humble. Guys, all these things, God, he wants us to glorify himself through us. So it's not just like, oh, on church I'll glorify God, but every day, everything we have the choice to give him glory. Okay? Let's pray. God, as we take just a few minutes to discuss, I pray that you would be here. Multiply our time, that you might transform us from the inside out. In Jesus' name.